All right, so good evening, everybody. David Paul with you, Chief Meteorologist here at KHOU 11 on a very interesting Wednesday night. It's not often, it's very rare to see a Cat 4, almost Cat 5 hurricane sitting on your doorstep. There's Galveston, there's Houston, and especially rare to be this close to an almost Cat 5 and have as few impacts as we are having here in Houston, Galveston. And that is because the wind field around this hurricane is so very tightly packed. It's very small. And we'll go over that and its impacts on us because of that here in just a moment. It's a beautiful looking hurricane from a meteorological standpoint. It's terrifying if you're in its path. It looks like it's going to be Cameron, Louisiana, KHOU Parish, Lake Charles may also take a very hard hit from this particular hurricane. Right now, the leading edge of the eye wall is only about 50 miles from the coast, so we're only about 4 hours from landfall. It's going to be around midnight, 1 a.m. Winds are at 150. To become Cat 5, they have to go to 157. We're going to get an update at 10 o'clock at the top of the 10 o'clock news. So we'll see you at 10 o'clock on the TV side for the latest update on what may end up being, an historical event. Gusts to 180. Moving north to northwest at 15. It's moving more north than just about anything else right now. This is the 4 o'clock forecast cone, which was wanted to take it right to the Texas-Louisiana border. Just looking at the way it's actually been moving, it looks like it may be a little more here, a little bit further east of the Sabine River. That's important for Beaumont and Jefferson Parish because if we can get them on the weak side, on the outflow side of that hurricane, that would avoid pushing water up into the lakes there, Sabine Lake, and causing even more flooding problems there. That would be a big break for Beaumont, Port Arthur, Orange, if we could get this thing a little bit further to the east so you'd have the offshore winds, and that is looking more and more likely as the evening landfall at last check with winds of 150 where we are right now. And then zip to the north. The storm weakens to a tropical storm by tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock in northern Louisiana. This is really going to race north. It's not going to sit on us. It's not going to be a gigantic rainmaker. It's the wind threat and the wind-driven water, the surge, that are the two biggest issues. Here's the radar. Oh, and I said we've popped the tornado warning. Very common to get dozens of tornadoes with landfalling tropical systems on the northeast side in that quadrant. And that's exactly where we've got our tornado warning here. No tornado watch here in southeast Texas. There's Houston, there's Galveston. We may not get much of any rain at all with this, simply because this western side of the storm is so small. It's so compact. In fact, if you just extrapolate this out, here's the edge of the rain shield, and if this continues north-northwest, there are your impact zones. Maybe a little bit of rain in Winnie, Beaumont, some rain. If we can just keep Beaumont out of that eye wall, they would really be probably pretty fine, although take a very close shave from a very powerful hurricane. We're just going to have to watch it hour to hour now. But on this path, impacts in Houston, Harris County are almost zero. No power outages, no rain, no tornadoes. Just amazing to be so close to it. And the big reason is this, and I'm going to work on this live for you here, this graphic. So in the red area, this is the extent of the hurricane force winds. Everything outside that, the orange, the yellow, is just tropical storm force winds. And that area of hurricane force winds is very compact. And this is updated on me, so I'm going to update it for you right here. Look at how small this hurricane is. On the strong side, hold on just a second. Let's get rid of you. On the strong side, from the eye wall, hurricane force winds extend, let's be generous and say 40 miles. Quite often it's double that with a hurricane. On the west side, from the eye wall, about 22 miles out. That's it. That is an incredibly compact and small wind field. It's terrible if you get in that wind field because it is so violent right in that zone. But outside of it, it's amazing how quickly the winds lighten up. So what's the forecast for the wind field? Take us into 10 o'clock tonight. Galveston on the edge of some tropical storm force winds. Chambers County, you might see gusts to 40. And this is the gust potential here. Beaumont to 48. That's fine at 10 o'clock. Hurricane force winds, they get close to Beaumont. This is where the really bad stuff's going to be. Lake Charles, Cameron Parish, they'll have gusts to 127 and above easily there. That's where the really bad damage is going to be. But look at Houston. Just a breezy evening, 20 miles an hour. And by tomorrow morning at sunrise, it's all over as far as any wind threat for Houston, Galveston. Still 83-mile-an-hour gusts possible in central Louisiana as we head into sunrise tomorrow. But you see how it shrinks as the storm moves inland, it weakens. So in Houston tonight, passing showers. I wrote passing showers and thunderstorms. I got to tell you, I don't think we're even going to see that. We've got a dry slot of air, and that wind field just isn't very strong on the west side, or not very wide. No heavy rains expected. Winds 10 to 25. If we had a rain band, that's where the stronger gusts would be, Houston, Galveston. The rain bands, the raindrops falling, transport the stronger winds just above the surface down to the surface. See, that's why you get stronger winds at the surface when it's raining. But I don't see any rain bands coming our way. And as far as the actual rain totals, look at this. Forecasting 0 for most of southeast Texas tonight. Heavy rain, Louisiana, along into the east of the center. And here's the surge forecast, and it jibes with the rest of what we've been seeing. If the center goes in here, along and to the right of the center is where you get the worst of the surge. Now remember, this is almost a Cat 5. So you're going to get a 10 to 20 foot surge, but in a very small area. But this is very shallow land here, and it's going to push all the way up into Lake Charles if it takes that route into southwest Louisiana. Surge over here. So in Galveston, they're seeing the worst of it right now. A lot of wave action. We're getting into high tide. The waves are crashing into the base of the seawall, but that's fine. Seawall's doing its job. I'm sure there's some overwash in the dunes on the west end of the island and on the Bolivar Peninsula, but it's nothing devastating. It's just maybe 2 to 4 feet above normal high tide for Houston and Galveston. You can handle that. Here's our live weatherbug cam down in Galveston, Hotel Galvez. Murdoch's, Pleasure Pier, the trolley is right here. That's Seawall Boulevard. Pretty quiet out there. I can see wave action there in the lit up areas, but I've seen it much worse before. It's just a windy, wavy night in Galveston. Stay out of the water and you'll be safe. These are current winds. Northeast at 26 in Galveston. Okay, it's a breezy evening. That's not bad. 10 to 15 to 18 for our inland areas right now. There's the hurricane. But kind of extrapolate that out. I mean, really, you're going to have to get Winnie to Beaumont to maybe get a gust to 30, 35, 40, 45. Beaumont will probably see stronger winds. It remains to be seen how close the western eye wall gets to Beaumont. I've got my fingers crossed for you, Beaumont. I really hope. At least you're going to be on the western offshore flow of this. That makes a huge difference. A big difference. You get on the onshore flow, the strong side of this, and it's going to be very, 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 very bad. 7-day forecast for Houston. 40% chance for scattered storms tomorrow, 90. Then it's mid-90s and a 30% chance for scattered showers Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, back to normal summertime stuff. So there's where we stand right now. We are taking just a glancing blow from a very powerful hurricane. I don't know if luck is the right word to use for Houston, Galveston, or it just is what it is. But because the wind field is so small and compact, and we're on the weak side of this hurricane, even though we're so close to it, we're going to get almost zero impacts here in Houston, Galveston, except for right along the water where the waves and the tides are coming up a little bit above normal. Again, we get that live update at 10 o'clock on the news, on the TV side. Forecast cone from the Hurricane Center will be updated. This will be the last update we have before landfall. So I will see you at 10 o'clock. We'll do it at the top of the news. So get here before 10 o'clock. As soon as the convention ends, which should be right at 10 o'clock, we'll bust in and we'll have the latest forecast track and impacts that it suggests. We'll see you at 10 o'clock on the TV side with the update.